The CCIW postseason has not been kind to the baseball or softball teams this season. Not at all. We'll get one side of that story today from the softball team when head coach Jim Kulawiak joins us in a moment. And men's volleyball is here too. Yes, there is a men's volleyball team, and we'll talk to the head coach soon. But not until after we explain the tough outing North Central had hosting the CCIW tournament. An extra inning affair in the opener finished in heartbreak with a 3-2 loss to Carthage after 10. A team North Central had beaten twice in the regular season. In Game 2 against Wheaton, with Brian Palowie on the mound, the Cardinals did their best work. But don't take my word for it. Here are the highlights. The CCIW tournament hosted by North Central, but wearing the road uniforms for this one. Strange. They're real sleek though, and Wheaton admiring them from afar. North Central lost Game 1 of the tourney to Carthage. Wheaton lost Game 1 to Illinois Wesleyan, so both teams trying to avoid elimination on Day 2. Top 1, it's Sam Klein. The single scores Sam Carius 1-0 and a booming start for North Central. With the bases loaded, Bobby Smith walks, one of 3 walks on the day, and this one produces a run. 2-0 and a pitching change. Daniel Bayer comes on for the starter, Michael Kaufman, but that changes nothing. Well, that sort of does, but the fielder's choice on the grounder by Chris Hill brings in Sam Klein, and now it's 3-0. Still more to come. Jake Rohn lays down the bunt. It's mishandled, and Paparone scores, and it's 4-0, and it's a great first inning for North Central. And that great first inning backed by Brian Palowie. He strikes out Matt Chappelle. Then in the second, Tyler Sigler missing out on the outside breaking ball. Then in the third, Kyle Trivitz misses 2. And on the 0-2, Kyle Mellinger sent down as well. 7 strikeouts on the game for Palowie, keeping Wheaton at bay. Now to inning number 6. Paparone puts the finishing touches on one incredible game. 2 for 2 with 2 RBIs to add to those 3 walks, the single to right center, and one more Wheaton fielding error. 1 of 3 on the game leads to 3 more runs, with Vito Durango crossing through, as well as Carius and Zach Jaros. 9-0, North Central tacks on 4 more and win the game 13-1, advancing to play Illinois Wesleyan the following day. But IWU, with a 6-4 score, puts an end to North Central's championship bid. That 6-4 loss to the Titans ends a brilliant season for the Cardinals that came such a long way, with the first half of the year spent hovering around 500 to have come all the way back to finish with a strong 26-16 record speaks volumes about the excellent work done by head coach Ed Matthew. So after North Central men's track and field officially took its 5th straight CCIW Outdoor Championship, the Dr. Keeler invite became mostly about individual performances, and why not? There were several to highlight. Aaron Sabat breaking a North Central varsity record that every Naperville sports writer said would never be broken. In 1989, Dan Baker, a North Central Athletic Hall of Famer, ran the 1500 in just 3 minutes, 47.8 seconds. Aaron Sabat ran his in 3 minutes, 47.14 seconds. And another record that every Naperville sports writer said would never be broken was broken in pole vault. His name is Luke Winder, and he does not belong living on a planet with the rest of us peasants. 17 feet, 9 inches, breaking his own outdoor freshman record, overshadowing Spencer LaHaye's magnificent performance, finishing second at 15 feet, 9¼ inches. The women enjoyed some sterling efforts as well. That under-the-radar 4x100-meter relay team barely missed first place, taking second at 46.97 seconds. Madison Renfro, Brittany Olsen, Sade Gann, and Miranda Aurora making things happen for the Cardinals. Aurora, your winner there again, barely ahead at 46.96 seconds. Liz Composto took a second place finish too. That came in the pole vault at 12 feet, 2 inches. That was her clearance. And one more notable for you, Ebony Stallworth, third in the shot put. Her throw of 43 feet, 5¼ inches, enough to put her in the top 3. The Cardinals host again this week at the Gregoria Invite for both the men and the women, and after that, the end of the road. The 2015 NCAA Division III Outdoor National Championships, Canton, New York. Your host site, the stage is set, and our stage is also set for softball coach Jim Kulawiak on TCR.
They told me a bottle couldn't dream, that I would never become a superhero. But I learned how to fly, just to come back in a new disguise and be the hero that I've always wanted to be.
Welcome back. We're here now with the fiery head coach of North Central's softball team, Jim Kulawiak. Hi, Jim.
Nice to be here.
And it's nice to see you. And coming off a 2-1 loss to Lake Forest, the most interesting thing to me was what you said after the game. You seem to be very outspoken, much a dislike for these short elimination tournaments. They kind of are a bit unfair. They don't exactly tell the whole story of who's good, who's bad. It's kind of about who gets hot at the right time. You seem a little bit disdainful toward them. Is that true?
I don't know if that's necessarily true. I mean, it's tournament play, and you have to get it over in a short order of time. It's difficult sometimes, but you know, we've had it go for us and against us, so unfortunately it didn't work out this time.
Amazing too, because you look at Lake Forest, 33-9. You finished 32-9, so record-wise, it appears a perfect match for you guys. So you go into that game very evenly matched, and I think it's proof that it probably is about who gets out at the right time, right?
That, and I would say that, you know, good pitching shuts down good hitting, and their pitchers handle our hitters pretty well. Interesting you say that, because your batting average, 351 as a team, they were hitting 327, but the difference is in ERA. Their ERA total, 175, yours 226. So would that be what ultimately was the deciding factor on that day? Well, I think if you go back and look not only for that weekend, but the few games that we did lose this year, we had the opportunities to score the tying or winning runs, and we just weren't unable to come through. And we had, for the most part, all season been coming through. And when you get into those tight situations, it's no different than if you were in a World Series. You know, sometimes they're going to come through and sometimes they're not. And we got shut down, and you got to give the credit to the Lake Forest pitching staff. Well, let's get a closer look at that pitching staff and this pitching duel with Lake Forest. The highlights now from May 8th and 9th. The softball team at the Lake Forest Regional, its third NCAA tournament appearance in a row, and in the semifinal they take on the host school, the Foresters, who knocked off UW-Whitewater in an 11-inning thriller prior to their rematch with NCC. I hope you hate hits and runs, because then you'll really enjoy the first 5 innings. Every threat was put to a halt. At top of the first, runner on second, and Carly Trenhaile flies out to center. Top 4, Jesse Werner gets Rowe looking, but Rowe's redemption comes soon after in the bottom of the 4th. Kayla Antle hits into a double play sparked by Rowe, 0-0 after 4. Starting to feel like NCC needs a break for a run, and it gets one here. Trenhaile hits this one out to Beal at shortstop, and her throw is into the dugout. Starr looks to help her own cause and does, going opposite field to score Trenhaile on the single, 1-0 NCC, a run. Only 6 outs to go for Starr, but Liederman shoots a bunt down the third base line, and Antle's throw is called safe, much to Coach Jim Kulawiak's chagrin. Afterwards, Starr walks Alex Hemmer and gives up a single to Sally Snarsky. Bases loaded, 1 out for Kayla Antle, and she turns on it to left. Walker throws it to Rowe, and the relay is off target to put Lake Forest up 2-1. Portillo leads off the next inning with a walk, and after an Antle strikeout, Kirsten Tinkoff comes to the plate. The count is 2-2, and the game is stopped before there's bad weather. Out comes the tarp, and the game is suspended until 11 a.m. Saturday. Now it's 11 a.m. Saturday. McTague and Tinkoff pick up right where they left off. Tinkoff gets jammed, but no one covers first, and she's safe. But after Walker flies out, it's down to Trenhaile looking for the magic with 2 outs, but McTague overwhelms her with a strikeout, and Lake Forest wins 2-1. So you're up 1-0 in the bottom of the 6th. We see Liederman lead off with that bunt. Antle makes the throw. She appeared to be out on video. It was called safe. We saw you come out very fiery, very angry. Looking back at it, I'm sure you've seen the video by now. Do you think it was the right call? You know, I haven't seen the video. So, you know, until you do, to reaffirm it, I really can't comment. At the time, I thought she was out by a step.
Andrea Starr seemed to be your MVP of the game. You look at her really all year, probably one of the biggest reasons you were so successful to begin with. And not only that, but she was the star on the offense too that day. Would you say she was the star of the game for you guys?
Well, she's definitely a complete player, and I think sometimes people forget the pitching side of it is so difficult in itself, and to be able to also hit well is really a great credit to her.
You know what's crazy about that game is you get to the 7th inning, and you have your best batter up in Kirsten Tinkoff.
She has 2 strikes on her. The weather starts to get a little bit bad, a little iffy, and the umpires call the game down, postpone it at the very end. You think the delay kind of hurt you there?
I don't necessarily think that's true. I actually think it was probably more beneficial for us. You had a time to regroup and collect your thoughts. You know, they call it because of the lightning. If it was just a rain scenario in itself, we would have gotten it in. But they're protective because of the lightning rule, and so from that perspective, it was the right call.
But is it hard for a hitter to get in the right mindset when you usually have a full game to get yourself going into a rhythm? But here's Tinkoff. She comes up, and now she has to figure things out in a split second in a very crucial situation.
You know, we talk about a few things, and I know one of the things that she had mentioned to me was not trying to think about what pitch she was going to get, but just to see the ball and try to hit it. And when the game resumed, she did hit a softball down a soft roller down the first base line, which she was able to beat out. So from that perspective, we had the winning runs on.
Baseball and softball can be very crazy games. We'll get to more with Jim Kulawiak in a moment on TCR.
Every proper bear knows that the right fit means everything. Especially when it comes to car seats.
Oh, really? I just did what any bear would do.
So know for sure that your child is in the right car seat for their age and size.
I like it.
To learn more, visit safercar.gov/the right seat.
Oh, hello there. Oh,
Where's that bear?
Welcome back to TCR, and still with me is Coach Jim Kulawiak, North Central softball coach. Jim, you've been around for a long time, 27 years, but over the last handful of years between Velasta Manja and now Andrea Starr, it appears you've had a bit of a, you've seen a stretch now with some really great pitching. Andrea among probably one of the all-time greats, I would say, under your tenure. Would you agree with that?
I think she's in the top 5 or 6. We got about 5 or 6 there that are really bunched together in terms of the innings pitched and their total career wins. She's as good a competitor as any of them.
Is it a coincidence that just in the last 5 years all these great pitchers have come along? Has your eye for pitching in terms of scouting improved?
Oh, I'm not so sure about that. I just think things have to fall in the right place. The school has to be a match academically, and things have to work out financially, and then of course you also hope that the softball part of it is in there as well.
You know, the toughest part of this loss to Lake Forest has to be the fact that over the last 3 years, 30 wins each season or more, and you figure it had to do with all these star players you had. This year they're all seniors, so you're losing a lot of really great players. Did that add that much more to the hope that you get the job done this year in the tourney?
It did. We thought with the experience coming back, it would be a great edge for us going into this season, and I think for a majority of the season it played out, and we ran into some real good competition and some good pitching, and unfortunately it didn't finish out the way we would have liked.
It's tough. You're losing Antle, Trenhaile, Portillo, Tinkoff. That's a lot of great players. What exactly, if you can put it into a brief description, what exactly are you losing in all of them?
Oh, we're losing tremendous offense. There's no question about that. Good leadership and experience. There's no doubt about that. Besides the performance part of it, we're losing some depth there as well, because we've got some people like Jordan Beck and Jordan Johnson who were very versatile. They did a lot of things over the 4 years there for us in terms of different positioning and being able to utilize in many different ways.
Do you feel, though, that you've set the team up for good future success with your recruiting?
Well, I think we got a few recruits coming in that'll be able to step in right away and help us. You hope that things will work out for you. You certainly don't want to be overconfident, but we'd like to say we're trying to reload and not rebuild.
We look at this year as a whole. Almost every batter in the lineup hitting over 300, which is amazing, to say the least. When you have a team where everyone, from 1 to 9, seems to be a star, it's hard to find an unsung hero on the team. But everyone wants to know who it is, and I'm going to ask you, who do you think was the unsung hero for this season?
That is so difficult to pinpoint 1 or 2 people, because during the course of the year, there's so many different people that came through at various moments. So for me to try to target someone is really, really hard.
Well, how about we talk about the younger players too? Corinne Rowe, last time we had you on the show, we mentioned she's a dual athlete and she gets the job done in both sports, basketball and softball. The way she played in softball was awfully impressive. Do you think she's the future cornerstone of the team with Tinkoff on the way out?
Well, I think she's definitely a valuable person who could be a tremendous catalyst for us and leader in the future years to come. But I just wouldn't put everything on one person. I think obviously Star will be a senior next year, and we're depending a lot on her as well. So you'd like to see a collective effort there and not just a singular.
Well, Coach, you gave us a very intriguing season, an awfully entertaining team to watch, and hopefully next year you can reload and do it all again. Thanks for being on today.
Well, thank you so much.
All right, next we're joined by senior infielder Kayla Antle and senior outfielder Carly Trenhaile.
Life's taught me a lot, and I'm ready for more.
Well, you're not the typical kind of candidate that I hire. But you are exactly what I'm looking for.
Your company could be missing out on the candidates it needs most. Learn how to find a great pool of untapped talent at gradsoflife.org.
Wrapping up some careers now at TCR. With me now are Kayla Antle and Carly Trenhaile. Hello.
Hi.
And we welcome you inside of the studio here. We have a very interesting story. In the previous game, you get to the 7th inning, you see Kirsten Tinkoff at bat. Then comes the delay. Your coach said it was beneficial for you, but it's always interesting to hear from the athletes. How do you think it affected you guys as a team? We'll start with you, Carly.
I would agree with Coach that it was beneficial because it kind of halted the momentum of the game. And unfortunately, at that moment, I would say that the momentum was with our opposing team, Lake Forest. So even though we did have to wait until the next morning to play the game, it kind of was a way to shift the momentum, which was in our favor then at that time.
Kayla, you put yourself into Kirsten's shoes, and you see her, she comes up in the 7th, the next day she has to come in. She already has 2 strikes on her. How do you think you would have reacted in that situation?
I mean, that's a tough spot for anyone to be in. I know she talked about how hard it was for her and how happy she was when it was finally over. Because as you can imagine, you wait an entire night for just that one at bat, and a lot of pressure builds up. And so, honestly, I can't even imagine what it would feel like. But I'm glad it was her, and I wouldn't want anyone else on our team to be in that spot.
And I can't imagine what it feels like for it all to be over. You two are part of a team that, for the better part of 3 years now, so successful. You win 30 games at teams every season or more, and now it all comes to an end. Are you happy with the legacy you guys left?
I'm definitely happy with the legacy that we left and the things that we've implemented for the future teams. I know the underclassmen definitely, I would assume Kayla would agree that we're responsive to the leadership of the entire senior class. It wasn't just one individual. I would say it was all of us that really worked together to kind of build or continue to build this program and what Coach K and Coach TK have all started. Do you have anything to add?
We've come a long way since our freshman year. We've tried to add a lot of things. We've tried new things that have failed. We've tried things that have succeeded, and I think overall we're really happy with where we've come, and we're excited for what's going to happen next year and in the future years with what we've left.
Carly, I like how you threw that one over there. You're doing a better job hosting than I do. Almost the entire team was hitting over 300 this year, which is an amazing feat in itself. But you come to this game with Lake Forest, and it's a pitching duel. Was it odd to be involved in one in such a big game?
I mean, pitching is always really important in games. If you don't have a really good pitcher, you're going to be behind in a third of the game, essentially. And having Andrea and Sarah and Kaylee has been really helpful for us this entire year. And we've faced some teams that have had good pitchers and some that have had not so great pitchers. But when you get to the tournament, everyone is good, and you have to go into every game expecting really great pitching. And so really that's kind of what it comes down to, is who can hit the best pitching that's out there.
Well, Carly, you're certainly a big-time hitter. You finished 5th all-time in RBIs at NCC. Do you think you lived your entire career living for the clutch moment?
Not really. It sounds strange, but in those moments, The best thing that I try to do is I try not to think. I know that as a teammate, when I go up to bat, that I need to perform for the team, and that if there are people on or runners on base, then I want to score them in. But I'd have to say that I'm not going up and just saying, "Ooh, I get another RBI," but it's more of I can get our team another point or another run. I can get us ahead or closer to winning.
Well, so interesting. Your teammate Amanda Walker. A couple more RBIs than you. She has 115. So she's only 23 behind the all-time leader, Amanda Talley. Do you think she can get the job done next year?
I definitely think she can.
And it'll be interesting to see if she can. 394 was your best season. What do you think helped you connect with the ball more than you ever did this year?
With going into my senior year, I obviously still had my nerves and my butterflies, but it was completely different than coming in my freshman, sophomore, even junior year. Kind of my mentality was, well, what can happen? What can I do? This is the last shot, my last time, so might as well just get up there, and I know I can do it. I wouldn't have gotten this far if I couldn't. And just knowing that my teammates are behind me and can pick me up if I do strike out, if I totally whiff or swing at a high pitch that I'm not supposed to. But just having a completely different mentality of knowing that if I can't get the job done in that at-bat, that I know my teammates are there and they can do the job.
Well, Kayla, we talked up Carly. Now let's talk you up a little bit. You were 5th in at-bats with 516. You'll finish 3rd in runs with 155, 3rd in walks with 75, 5th in sacrifice plays with 31. I look at those numbers. It's all doing the little things right. You're a fundamentally sound player. How do you think Coach K helped you develop into what you are?
Oh, too many ways to talk about, actually. But he really emphasizes doing the little things right, like you said. And it's not about, I mean, the RBIs and the runs, that's all great, and that's what makes you win. But you aren't going to get to that point if you don't do the little things right. And you have to score to win. And that's, people laugh at me because that's my favorite stat, is runs scored. And they think that that's silly, but that's how you win games. And if you can get on base and you can count on your teammates to hit you in, then you're going to win every game.
Well, I was awfully impressed by both of your careers. Carly, you seem to be the lifeblood of the team all season long. They'll be losing a lot with both of you, and it was awesome watching you guys through the years you were here. Thanks for being on today.
Thank you.
All right, the head coach of a team you haven't even seen yet is ready to make his first appearance on the Cardinal Report. Next, we'll explain more at the other end of this break.
Today is Saturday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
On September 17, 2013, it was announced that men's volleyball would be coming to North Central College. Then on April 4th of 2014, the head coach of said team was introduced. His name is Kyle Exline, and he's here now for his first cameo on TCR. Are you ready?
Very ready. Thanks very much for having me, Charlie. Appreciate it.
Well, thanks for being on. And so interesting. 2nd D3 school and 7th collegiate program in Illinois to offer men's volleyball. You get to lead the way. What does it mean for the game of volleyball, though? Because it seems to be growing in Illinois, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. About 5 years ago, there was only Loyola Chicago and Lewis University within the area.
Unbelievable.
But those are the top Division I, Division II schools, but there's also some NAIA schools. So it's awesome for the game of volleyball, especially starting it up in Naperville. We have a great town, great area. So just adding another men's volleyball program to the area, it's going to be great. There's a lot of young volleyball players that are looking for opportunities to go play, and we're able to provide it for them over at North Central College.
And we see what that means for the game of volleyball. Another question might be, what does it mean for the school? Because you look at volleyball, it's a sport very popular in California, Michigan, which is pretty nearby. North Central doesn't have too many kids coming to school from there. Would you say having a volleyball team now might attract new students from new places?
Absolutely. Well, just in our region alone, we have District 203 and 204, which has outstanding volleyball. There's a local club, 2 local clubs, Sports Performance and Naperville Volleyball Club, that have outstanding kids, and they start playing when they're the age of 13. So just the growth from 13 until 18s, those teams are top in the country, which is great. So kind of having that background in our backyard is going to be outstanding for our institution, because we want to keep all those kids that are local staying and playing at North Central College.
Now, if I'm the athletic director, I'm looking at your resume, former D1 player, you're the head coach at Argo High School, and you did some side coaching at Carthage too, as far as I'm concerned. I think when I look at that, it all seems to make you a very easy hire. Is this is this kind of the next step for you?
Yes, absolutely. After I played over at Loyola Chicago, which Saturday night they won the back-to-back national championships for Division I, I went on to Carthage College to be a graduate student. So when I went up there, I kind of knew that I wanted to be a college coach. Played Division I, but coached at Division III. I love the setting for Division III. We really emphasize the student athlete, and my goal was to be a head coach at the age of 25, and sure enough, I was able to achieve that goal. So it means a lot, and I just want to thank North Central College for even providing me with the opportunity. I
think it's amazing that you made it happen at such a young age. And, you know, you were just a player at Loyola not too long ago, 2008 to 2011, a team captain there. So you were obviously one of the leaders on the team. How do you think your playing style as a player is going to translate to your coaching?
Absolutely. As a captain, I learned many different facets of leadership, such as incorporating all 20 guys on the roster, incorporating what our coaching staff wanted within our teammates. So I was kind of that liaison between the coaching staff and our current team. So moving on and with my playing style as well, I was able to formulate a pretty good culture within our roster. So having that good understanding of your teammates, your coaches, and kind of what they want to see, I think that's been one of the biggest things for allowing me to be able to coach, even at such a high level. So it's been really good.
Being a coach, you're going to be doing a lot of scouting.
Yes.
A lot of recruiting to do this job, and I mentioned what you were like as a player. If you were scouting yourself first and foremost, who were you out there on the court?
Well, based off of what a couple other coaches said, I was the type of player that would pretty much run through a brick wall to pursue any volleyball. I was very talkative. As you could probably tell, I lost my voice. I was playing Saturday in a tournament, and I was kind of yelling and screaming throughout the tournament. And turns out for my first interview now on the Cardinal Report, I had a lost voice. But those are the types of guys that I'm recruiting. Guys that are very smart, great IQs, high energy, very persistent, they're dedicated, and they're great teammates. It's what I like to see. So those hardworking kids, I really like them.
You mentioned your career goal was to get a head coaching job by the age of 25. Now you're 26, you have the head coaching job, but we all know in life goals keep coming up, new ones keep coming up. Now that you've achieved the original goal, what's the new goal?
It's a very good question. I kind of, after watching one of the Chicago Blackhawks commercials with Coach Q, I was going around where Jonathan Taves' goal was to be the first one at the locker room. Coach Q's goal was then to make sure all his guys achieve his goals. That's kind of the method that I'm adopting now. I'm having 25 guys coming in for next year. I'm going to have a roster of 29, 30 for next year. So I just got to make sure that I'm making sure that all my guys are achieving their goals academically, athletically. As regards for being at North Central College, I'm hoping I could be here for a long time.
Midwest Collegiate Volleyball League announced September 2014. You get to join there. So next season, when play starts up, you have a conference to start with. We'll be watching, and we're excited to see you guys. Thanks for being on today.
Absolutely. Thanks very much for having me. Appreciate it.
All right, men's volleyball begins play in 2016, but there's plenty going on until then. Don't forget, outdoor track and field starting nationals awfully soon. That's on May 21st. If for whatever reason you can't get to Canton, New York to watch, get all the info you need by following @NCTV17 on Twitter or by logging on to NorthCentralCardinals.com. Thanks for watching. This has been TCR.